3 days before the zombie apocalypse, I took out a 3 million loan from the bank and built 2 safe houses, one in a conspicuous community, one in the desolate countryside. The safe house in the community, I let everyone in, because this safe house was originally meant to be a bait for our enemies, while the one in the desolate countryside is my true sanctuary. That's right, I was reborn. In my past life, my mother was too kind. She kindly took in the neighbors, but they took over our shelter and threw us to the zombies. The first day of my new life, in front of my neighbors, I frantically bought all kinds of canned food and bottled water. I also called construction workers to seal up the top floor, to store supplies. My neighbor, Dong Shanliang, his name means kind, but he is the exact opposite. In my past life, he was the one who took over our home. Not only did he take our shelter and supplies, he personally fed us to the zombies. Xiao Zhou, what are you busy with? Why are you buying so much stuff? Let me tell you, eating this stuff is bad for you. Seeing me on a shopping spree again, Dong Shenliang started acting like an elder and began to lecture me. Yes, you're right, Uncle Dong. But I have my reasons for storing these things. A disaster might happen in a few days, so I'm preparing a little extra. I replied with a forced smile. At the same time, I didn't slow down my phone orders. Seeing me like this, Dong Shenliang turned to others and said, young people these days, they don't work hard. All they do is play. Seeing Dong Shanliang putting on a show for others again, I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Enjoy your act. In a few days, you won't have the chance. I checked the time. Less than 3 days until the zombies appear. I need to buy more and store more supplies, and I'm not just going to store them. I'm going to do it ostentatiously. I want everyone to know I have a lot of food at home. I even put a lot of supplies on the roof. As for my parents, I sent them back to our hometown as soon as I was reborn. My hometown is in the mountains, with a rugged terrain. You can dig a cave anywhere. The caves are warm in winter and cool with a cellar. It's a God-given shelter. After sending my parents back, I repeatedly told them to check the cellar. I also bought truckloads of potatoes for my hometown. Potatoes can be stored in the cellar. They won't go bad for a long time, and they're not easy to find when planted in the ground. You can make a variety of dishes with them, so you won't get tired of them. They're also high in calories and filling. I'm not worried about my parents in my hometown. Now it's my turn to have some fun with that bastard Dong Shenliang. The horrors of my past life are still vivid in my mind. If I don't get my revenge in this new life, it would be a betrayal of my character. While I was buying supplies, I also installed several cameras nearby, the kind that I can talk through remotely. On one hand, it's for my escape. On the other hand, if I can't talk, how can I quietly lure the zombies over? 2 days passed in a flash. I've prepared the shelter here. Of course, it can also be called Dong Shenliang's execution ground. At night, when no one was watching, I drove to my parents' place. After many turns on the mountain road, I stopped the car. After a few more turns, I finally reached the cave in my hometown. At my strong suggestion, the outside of the cave was sealed with a mound of earth. From a distance, it's impossible to see that there's a cave here. After passing through the outer mound of earth, bank-grade explosion-proof doors and glass, an electric fence, the walls inside the room were all reinforced. Of course, this is just a smokescreen. The real shelter is underground, in a basement that no one would ever think of. After doing all this, I secretly returned to the community before dawn. Although I was very tired, I was extremely satisfied. What could be more satisfying? Personally taking down your enemy? Tomorrow, what's coming will come. I slept until dawn. I casually opened my phone and saw a series of news reports. Experts said that in the city and other places, there were incidents of people biting people. Although experts repeatedly stated that these were isolated and could be quickly brought under control, but the public spontaneously rushed to the supermarkets to hoard goods. I watched the news, and a smirk unconsciously appeared on my face. If someone in the supermarket gets infected at this time, who can escape in such a crowded place? A day later, as I expected, a large-scale zombie outbreak occurred. The first batch were the people who rushed out after the virus outbreak. Still rushing out. At this time, they were like walking dead, attacking everything they could see. I was even standing by the window and saw a couple running in panic. The girl was normal 1 second. The next second, her body convulsed. Then, next to her, the terrified boy's legs went weak and he fell to the ground. After another convulsion, there was another zombie in the community. Just as I was observing from the window, I heard a knock on the door. When I opened the door, standing at the door, was my nemesis, Dong Shenliang. Looking behind him, wow, a huge crowd of people. I looked at Dong Shenliang again, with that harmless look on his face. I couldn't help but feel a little confused. This is different from my memory of my past life. Oh, Xiao Zhou. A few days ago I heard you talking about a disaster. So I thought better safe than sorry. I gathered all my relatives, but I don't have any extra food at my place. Look at your place. As he spoke, his eyes kept darting around my house. The canned food and bread I had piled in the living room made their eyes widen. Suddenly, all sorts of ghouls and demons all came out of the woodwork. Wow, Zhao Zhou is amazing. He prepared so much in advance. Yeah. Now we don't have to worry. As they were talking, they started to walk in. Seeing this, I couldn't help but sneer. Birds of a feather flocked together. This Xiao Zhou, seeing that we are all neighbors of Dong Shanliang, he stammered. I don't even have to think to know what he wants to do. Isn't it just to stuff all his relatives and friends into my place? But it doesn't matter. The house behind me is not the safe haven they think it is, but a prison I prepared for them. Dong Shanliang bringing all his relatives is exactly what I wanted. Nothing is more satisfying than personally taking down your enemy. If I can wipe out all of my enemy's relatives in one fell swoop, that would be a double blessing. God has been good to me, a transmigrator. Thinking this, I quickly welcomed them into the house. I opened all the doors to the rooms and allowed them to choose freely. Come, everyone is Dong's relative. That makes you my relative too. Don't be shy, come on in. Make yourselves at home. Hearing my words, the already restless Dong family became even more unrestrained in my house. The house was immediately in chaos. Seeing that everyone had found a place to stay, Dong Shanliang's smile reached his ears. He secretly glanced at me, and when he saw that I didn't seem to mind, he started again. Xiao Zhou in a lecturing tone. Don't think I'm nagging. Since you knew the zombies were coming, you should have prepared a bigger house. You should have gotten a whole building. That way everyone would have their own room. It wouldn't be so chaotic like it is now. Not only are the beds and sofas full, some people have to sleep on the floor. When I heard his words, I couldn't hide my delight. You're right, Dong. Next time for sure. Dong! If you're missing anything, let me know. Just take it from me. Oh, I couldn't possibly, although he said that. But Dong Shanliang still took something when he left. He should be used to it. Watching him walk out and close the door, my eyes turned cold. It doesn't matter. After tomorrow you will feel it. What true despair is. At night, while everyone was asleep, I slipped out of the house alone. I watched the community's surveillance footage on my phone. After confirming a safe route, I opened the unit door and slipped out. I found the off-road vehicle I had left in the community. I didn't even turn on the headlights and just drove off. After getting on the highway, I drove back to my hometown unsteadily. At the same time, the remote control system I installed during the renovation finally came in handy. With a gentle tap on my phone, the building in my community became magnificent. The electronic lights on the exterior walls flickered, looking so beautiful. In the dark, the zombies' eyes are not good. It's hard to see things clearly. And at this moment, with the electronic lights on, it's like a ship sailing in the dark. Seeing a lighthouse, countless zombies limping, but with firm steps, approached the community. By the time I drove into the mountains, it was almost sunrise. I couldn't help it. I was worried someone would see my headlights and follow me. So I drove with my heart in my mouth the whole way. After the car entered the mountain pass, I got out of the car and continued on foot. The car would leave tire tracks on the mountain road. So as soon as I drove in, I gave up the idea of continuing by car. Until I got home and went into the basement. My parents often say, "You child. Since you know it's dangerous outside, why are you still running around outside?" Mom, don't say anything. You're all grown up now, we can't control you anymore. Just remember, if you encounter danger, just run far away. After saying that, my mother went to the kitchen to cook for me. My heart warmed at the sight. My father next to me didn't say anything, but the worry in his eyes was undeniable. After a good meal, I turned on the phone surveillance and saw that my house was bustling with activity. When everyone woke up early in the morning, they looked left and right, only to find that I was gone. What's worse, the downstairs was already surrounded by zombies. 3 circles inside and 3 circles outside. I pulled up the surveillance footage from outside and looked at the community. I saw that the roads in the community were almost completely occupied by zombies. Seeing this, I sighed. Although I know that doing this will harm others. But this thought was quickly pushed to the back of my mind. When an avalanche occurs, no snowflake is innocent. In my past life, when I was abandoned, no one spoke up for me. This time, the roles are just reversed. I became the hunter, and they became the prey. At this moment, my house is in a frenzy. Everyone was very curious about my disappearance. After discovering that the entire building was surrounded by zombies, the people in the community are even more in a mess. When Dong Shenliang entered my room, his previous smug expression disappeared, replaced by... Now, if you check your phone, the top story is the zombie scene. The streets are full of bloodstains, the roar of zombies. The cries of the survivors fill the air, making people feel extremely uneasy. Without a doubt, not only do I know the news, Dong Shanliang and his group also know. Perhaps it was Dong Shanliang and his group making a lot of noise. Too much noise. The zombies downstairs became even more violent when they realized there were people upstairs. They rushed up one after another. But luckily there weren't many zombies. and their houses were on the upper floors. The zombies couldn't get up there for a while. Seeing this, everyone seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, although it's dangerous outside. But for now, they are temporarily safe. Everyone, there are zombies everywhere outside now. Let's not go out. Don't go out. As long as we don't go out, then we're safe for now. Patiently wait for rescue. Save for a moment, Dong Shenliang became the leader of the group and started giving orders. Under his arrangement, the Dong family no longer seemed lost and began to open my supplies box by box. Feasting. Looking at them, everyone wanted a feast of 8 dishes and a soup. I shook my head, still not being frugal at a time like this. They're really asking for death. They're going to get themselves killed. Time reached the evening. After dinner, my parents went to rest. I slipped out quietly, with binoculars and night vision goggles. I started to patrol the area, although this place is remote. And there are no people around now. But what if? I gripped the knife I bought and continued to make my rounds. I opened my phone and saw that everyone was forwarding a message on their social media. It said to scan a QR code to register and state the current amount of food supplies. Later, drones will be sent to drop off supplies regularly. For a moment, a large number of survivors forwarded it, urging everyone to fill it out quickly. I didn't register. On the one hand, I have plenty of supplies here. This should be left for those who need it more. On the other hand, I'm not sure about this. If this was released by the government, if someone with ulterior motives deliberately released this to use it for fishing, then it would be a good ending to a good game. After finding nothing, I went back to sleep. The next day, before I was fully awake, I smelled the scent of stir-frying. I opened my eyes and found that my parents had already cooked a day's worth of food. While I was eating, I opened my phone. I found that the news hadn't been updated yet. This is not a good sign. The situation is now so bad that even faith information can't be shared. Hospital, fire, the police may also be facing paralysis. My parents also noticed a strange news item on their phones. My dad was fine. He was just sighing. My mom didn't look right. Actually, it's already chaotic outside. We're pretty much just waiting to die now, right? I shook my head helplessly. At least, we have enough supplies here to last us for 2 or 3 years. In 2 or 3 years, if the zombie problem still isn't solved, then we definitely won't be able to survive either. It's just that we might be the last ones. As I was speaking, I opened the community's surveillance cameras again. Dong Jiaran didn't sleep well last night. When I woke up in the middle of the night, the lights of the entire building were so dazzling in the dark, thinking that I was long gone. Even a pig would know. Why are there so many zombies in the community? And why are the zombies concentrated downstairs? I checked my phone and found that there were so many missed calls. Just then, my phone rang again. I saw the caller ID was Dong Shenliang. In silent mode, they can call as many times as they want, it doesn't matter. Watching them scratch their heads, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. They deserve it. They should be able to find out soon. The so-called supplies are actually only real on the top. The ones below are just sand and rocks. Since you want to play, how could I have prepared enough things? In a situation of scarce resources, watching them kill each other. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it much better than TV shows and movies? And the hallway is not safe anymore. I just found out through the surveillance cameras that zombies have appeared in the hallway now. I don't know when Henliang also moved into my house. Maybe he's worried about not having enough supplies, so he came over. Or maybe there's safety in numbers. It's just a pity. As my primary target, no matter where he hides, I can't let him live. The camera I installed at the door is the kind that can make sounds after a few simple operations on my phone. A melodious song immediately came out. Instantly, the zombies in the hallway seemed to have found their target. One by one, they ran upstairs. They came to the door and started banging on it without any regard. The banging sound was frightening. The people in the room, suddenly they were like a cat with its fur. They kept cursing my name. Henshin Liang is also extremely introverted, but there's nothing he can do. The outside is surrounded by zombies. Can he fly? Just then, the little boy in the room started crying. The crying further agitated the zombies. They started banging on the door even more frantically. At the same time, the crying intensified the fear of the people inside. Stop crying. If you cry again, I'll throw you out. I don't know who shouted it. The child cried even harder. At the same time, his parents also stood up. He's just a child. What are you arguing with him for? In between words, the originally loving family actually showed signs of a group fight. Seeing this, I had an idea. In a crisis, all laws and morals have lost their binding force. Then I will act as the judge of this family. Past mistakes. Now it's time to pay for them. I turned on the real-time communication function of my phone's surveillance. I began my proclamation of release for that little boy. I don't want to see that little boy live too well. Give me a satisfactory answer, if you don't want to become zombie food. As my words fell, everyone in the room seemed to have gone mute. They all looked for the source of the voice. Finally, they found out. It was me speaking through the surveillance camera. People are selfish, especially when their own lives are threatened. Dong Shanliang is like this. And his family, the Dong family, naturally goes without saying. After a brief silence, everyone's eyes turned to the little boy's family. But from the beginning, when the little boy entered the house, he occupied the best room. At mealtime, he picked all the meat dishes for himself. After taking a few bites, he decided he didn't and threw it in the trash. After a series of mischievous acts, he annoyed everyone, but everyone tolerated it because they were all family. They put up with it. Now this guy has threatened everyone's safety. How could everyone be soft-hearted? You damned brat, you're going to get it. My Dazhuang is so cute, what are you up to? This family, while cursing, protected their precious child behind them. But they seemed to be a little out of touch with reality. Seeing them, still daring to curse at me so brazenly, I smiled and said nothing. But on my phone, I was operating the electronic lock on my door for remote unlocking. Remote unlocking in progress. Please confirm again to unlock. As the cold electronic voice came out, everyone seemed to be scared stiff. Only Dong Shanliang reacted. I saw him at 100-meter dash speed. He rushed to that family. He punched Dazhuang's mother and kicked Dazhuang. He grabbed Dazhuang and slapped him left and right. Dazhuang's face instantly swelled up. Immediately, the little boy's family was filled with dissatisfaction, especially the little boy's mother. Seeing that she couldn't push Dong Shanliang away, she simply sat on the ground, crying and making a scene. Do you want to get us all killed? As Dong Shanliang spoke, he instantly established his own image. Under his words, Dazhuang's family seemed like incorrigible criminals, and he, Dong Shanliang, stood up resolutely for the safety of everyone. Originally seeing the scene, the Dong family members who were still hesitant, after hearing Dong Shanliang's words, immediately sided with Dong Shanliang. Some even helped Dong Shanliang to pull away Dazhuang's parents. They kicked and punched Dazhuang on the ground. There was only one goal, to beg me not to unlock the door. Don't let the zombies in. There were also a few smart people who ran behind the door and used various things to block the door, afraid that I would open the door. After seeing the tragic state of Dazhuang's family, an indescribable pleasure surged through me. Especially Dazhuang. Now he's lying on the ground, half dead. A complete contrast to his previous jumping around. Good, keep it up. But move the things from the door. I don't like people who try to be clever. With that, I turned off the remote communication on the surveillance Although I don't expect them to listen to me obediently. But it can also cause some conflicts for them. These past few days, my mood has been very good. During the day, I watch their miserable situation on the surveillance camera. At night, I go out for a patrol. Life goes on as usual. Now, including Dong Shanliang, the Dong family, are not having a good time. After finishing the remaining bread and canned food, they started to use the leftover juice from the can, mixed with a little water to drink. Seeing that all the supplies were running out, the Dong family once again showed me what is meant by survival of the fittest. They killed the whole Dazhuang family and turned them into emergency rations for the apocalypse. Seeing this scene in the surveillance footage, my heart was filled with disgust and worry. After all, this kind of thing is not something a normal person can accept. My resolve to get rid of this group of demons became even stronger. These people will definitely be a disaster if they are let out. After Dazhuang's family was dealt with, Dong Shanliang's gaze once again fell on a relatively weak family. This family is a couple. They look relatively thin and weak. The crowd subdued him with a few moves. When the couple was about to be killed and cooked, the angry husband begged bitterly, hoping to be spared, but the crowd was unmoved. Suddenly, Dong Shanliang stopped the crowd. At this time, Dong Shanliang has already become the backbone of the Dong family. Dong Shanliang proposed. It's not impossible to let them go, but he hoped the husband would go and lure the zombies away. As long as the zombies are gone, the family can go out to find food. No need to take them with us. After hearing Dong Shanliang's idea, everyone nodded in agreement. But the couple's faces were ashen. Outside the door, the sound of the child's laughter continued, going out at this time. You don't even have to think about what will happen to the lost child. But if he goes out to lure the zombies away, the two of them might have a chance to survive. Although the hope is slim, but if you don't go out, the two of them will now become the Dong family's side dish. Finally, the husband steeled himself and decided to go. And his wife was left in the room as a hostage. Dong Shanliang pretended to squeeze out a few tears, saying that it was beyond his control. He directed everyone to make a rope out of bedsheets while drinking, to lower the husband down, and asked him to break the window and go in. They lured the zombies out of this building. This way, even if he gets caught by the zombies won't be able to climb up from downstairs. The husband took a kitchen knife and was lowered down like this. It seems his luck is good. The house with the broken window seemed to be unoccupied. There were no zombies inside either. After looking around the house, he opened the door with determination and went to the first floor. The husband suddenly started shouting. As expected, with the husband's birth, those zombies were like sharks smelling blood. They swarmed over. I saw on the surveillance camera that even the zombies surrounding the door were attracted by the sound and rushed down. In a moment, there were only 2 or 3 zombies left at the door. The others were all attracted by the husband. And the husband, after shouting, rushed into the stairs leading to the underground garage, shouting and running. Then a black mass of zombies quickly followed. A large group of zombies. Unfortunately for him, zombies also appeared in front of him. The young husband just realized that there were many zombies in the underground garage. At this moment, he was almost surrounded. He threw the kitchen knife in his hand forward. The kitchen knife actually stuck in the zombie's head. But it was useless. It didn't affect the zombie's movement at all. At this time, the husband was on the verge of collapse. Originally thought there weren't many zombies in the dark underground garage. Maybe with good luck, he could even find a car and drive out. At this time, he picked up a baseball bat from somewhere and used a roaring voice to embolden himself. Then, with one swing, he bashed the head of the zombie that ran up to him. The zombies are at different distances. The few isolated zombies under the husband's baseball bat were actually all bashed in the head, but the husband was already exhausted. At this moment, the zombies on him quickly arrived. They opened their mouths and bit him one by one. At the same time, Dong Jia, who was hiding in the room, also saw this scene because they asked the husband to go out. You must have your phone on live broadcast the whole time. They were also worried about being double-crossed when they saw the zombies' heads being smashed and completely out of commission. Some people even started cheering, as if they had already found a way to deal with the zombies and survive. After some discussion, everyone decided to rush out together to find food and find a new shelter. At this moment, everyone held a weapon in their hand. The door opened. The remaining 3 zombies pounced on them. The various families were like gods descending from heaven. You with a knife, me with a stick. They went all out on the zombies' heads. They were actually wiped out by 2 zombies. I, watching from the surveillance, was speechless. No one left to guard the house. They all rushed out in a swarm. Are they not afraid of being wiped out? Then they charged to the first floor in a mighty procession. They surrounded any lone zombie they encountered. I couldn't help but be surprised. Did I change after I was reborn? Did Dong Jaren's personality also change? When did the cowardly them become so brave? Or was it that the soft virus changed their genes and personality? Suddenly, I noticed something was wrong. Among the Dong family members, someone was slowly falling behind, and it was getting weirder and weirder. The person's walking speed became slower and slower. It's easy for people to overlook him. And now Dong Jiaren is hot-headed, anxious to find supplies. They wouldn't pay any attention to him. As the man stopped walking, his body convulsed and then he started to wriggle. Seeing this on the surveillance camera, I have no intention of reminding them. After all, in my opinion, these people are no different from demons. They can even kill their own kind. What else are they not capable of? Everyone saw it before. The zombie was with the young husband, lured to the underground garage. So after they reached the first floor, they immediately sealed the passage to the underground garage. Closed, but unfortunately they would never have thought that one of them has already been infected. At this time, the Dong family had just opened the unit door. As he was quietly walking out, the infected person completely disappeared. In an instant, he pounced on a person and started tearing at them. The scream of the person falling to the ground instantly attracted the surrounding zombies. All were attracted over. The originally confident Dong family was instantly terrified by the sudden change of events. They looked at the zombies gathering around them again and couldn't help but feel moved. In a moment of crisis, it was Dong Shanliang who stood up. With 2 blows, he turned his own family into 3 dead zombies. Then he started to cheer everyone up. There's no food in the room now. If we retreat, we can only wait to starve to death. We might as well fight our way out and find supplies. We can still survive. What are we afraid of with so many of us? Let's just do it. Under Dong Shanliang's rousing speech, the Dong family members were like they were on steroids. They charged forward. At the beginning, the Dong family continuously smashed the heads of several zombies. Unfortunately, there were already many zombies in the community. Plus the music I played remotely, and the flashing lights attracted more and more zombies. Gradually, due to hunger, the force of Dong Jaren's weapon swings became weaker and weaker. They were knocked down by the zombies one after another, and then became one of the zombies. I kept my eyes on Dong Shanliang's figure in the surveillance. From the very beginning, he called for everyone to rush out. But the further he charged, the further back when the zombies surrounded them, he simply hid at the very back. If the Dong family could rush out, he would go out with them. If the Dong family was killed by the zombies, he could also retreat. He's really a ruthless master. He can even use his own relatives as cannon fodder. No wonder he was so ruthless to me in my past life. Such a person really deserves to die. Seeing everyone fall to the ground and convulse and one by one turn into zombies, Dong Shanliang shouted and rushed upstairs. Ignoring his previous heroic words, he didn't go back to my house, but hid in his own house. In the moment he opened and closed the door, I saw that he still had a lot of food in his house. This old fox, probably at the beginning, worried that the food in his house would be discovered. So he used the excuse to hide with the other Dong family members when going downstairs, also because he knew he still had a trump card. So he walked at the very back. You can attack when you advance, and you can defend when you retreat. But Dong Shanliang, does he really think he's safe hiding in his house? I opened the community's owner group. I sent a message in the group. I heard that the resident of 23 building 1602 has a lot of supplies. Can you share a little with me? After sending the message, the homeowners group exploded. Several people were tagging Dong Shanliang, hoping to get some supplies, but Dong Shanliang denied it 10 times, and instead said that my house had supplies. Seeing this, I directly sent the surveillance footage to the homeowners group, becoming the last straw that broke Dong Shanliang's back. In the video, it's Dong Shanliang after abandoning the Dong family, his pathetic escape, and in the moment he opened and closed the door, the large bags of rice shocked everyone. Everyone has been hiding in their houses for so long. They've eaten everything they can. They're about to tear apart the sofa and cook the leather to fill their stomachs. To dispel everyone's fear of zombies, I also specifically the video of Dong Jiaran smashing the zombies' released head. The people who were about to starve to death, seeing how easily the zombies were dealt with. Plus, Dong Shenliang's house still has so many supplies. How could they hold back? Although no one is saying anything in the group now. But I don't believe everyone can hold back at night. A dark and windy night is the perfect time to make a move, to give more people a chance to survive. Tonight, I deliberately turned off the lights and all the sounds. This way, the zombies in the community won't gather downstairs, and they won't specifically enter the hallway from downstairs. In the middle of the night, several figures can be clearly seen, darting between the trees in the community. They seem to have reached a cooperation. In a few moves, they took care of the wandering. The few zombies at the entrance of the unit were dealt with. Coincidentally, those few zombies were transformed from the Dong family. Now that their heads have been smashed, they can be considered to be freed. After they entered the unit door, they locked the unit door from the inside to prevent zombies from coming in later. After a while, they reached Dong Shanliang's door. One of them looks like he should have some lock-picking skills on him. He took out a wire from his pocket and started to work on it. It's just a pity. How could Dong Shanliang not be prepared? As soon as I posted the video, he reinforced the door from home and blocked the door with something. At this moment, he heard the sound of the door opening, as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. Once the door is broken, he is also in danger. Even if these people don't kill him, he can't escape the fate of becoming a zombie. My good sirs, I really don't have much food at home. Please let me go. Dong Shanliang started his act again. While stalling for time, he used a flashlight to stimulate the zombies downstairs, hoping to lure them into the unit door, to get him out of trouble. Hearing the voice from inside the house, the men were stunned for a moment. Then, what seemed to be the leader spoke. The few of us just want to get some food. We don't mean anything else. As long as you give us some food, we'll leave now. My good sirs, I really don't have any food at home. Please let me go. While they were still at a stalemate, I used the surveillance camera installed outside to understand Dong Shanliang. I recorded his act of attracting zombies with a flashlight and sent it to the homeowners group again. When my sister outside saw the video, she was instantly furious. We're still negotiating with you here, and you're over there, but you're stabbing us in the back. What's the point of negotiating? After some discussion among the students, they began to break down the door violently. They didn't care if the loss would be attracted. After all, on a quiet night, the sound would travel far. The locksmith took out his tools, and in a short while he removed the entire door, without the door blocking the way. Although Dong Shanliang had blocked the passage with something, but the few of them had a clear division of labor. In a short while, they moved the things to the hallway. Suddenly, only Dong Shanliang was left in the room, shivering alone in the living room. The lead man brought the locksmith, and a muscular man and a tall, thin man. They entered the house, and it was like they had discovered a new continent. Seeing that there was everything from rice and noodles to meat and vegetables, just as they were about to move things, Dong Shanliang ran over and immediately hugged the lead man's thigh. He started to get better. Get off me! The lead man shouted, kicked Dong Shanliang to the ground. You have so much food in your house, and you didn't even share any with us. That's right. You have so much food at home. You can't eat it all by yourself. Let us brothers help you out. As the men talked among themselves, the speed at which they stuffed things into their backpacks didn't slow down at all. But what kind of person is Dong Shanliang? He's no pushover. After being kicked over, he lay there motionless. When they had finished packing and let their guard down, suddenly, when no one was paying attention, he pulled out a knife and stabbed the muscular man in the kidney. After a tragic doctor's note for the muscular man, he endured the pain and pushed Xiao Shanliang away and pulled out the knife. Then his body couldn't support him anymore and he fell to the ground. All of this happened too suddenly. When the others reacted, they immediately rushed to Dong Shanliang and beat him up. Just as everyone was about to leave, they found that one of Dong Shanliang's rooms was locked, and it seemed like there was someone moving inside, but it wasn't very clear. The lead man and his group exchanged a look. Finally, they asked the locksmith to open the door. As the sound of the locksmith opening the door was heard, the people inside seemed to get excited. Finally, with a click, the locksmith lived up to expectations and opened the door. He turned around and seemed to want to say something. Suddenly, he felt someone hiding behind him and hugging him. Then a powerful inertia knocked him to the ground. Before he could open his mouth, a sharp pain came from his huge neck. Then he smelled a foul stench. He struggled to raise his head. The things in his sight gradually turned crimson. Finally, he followed the zombie on his body. A convulsion slowly stood up. At this time, the lead man and the tall thin man finally reacted, taking advantage of the zombie in the room lying on the locksmith's body. The two of them, one by one, smashed the heads of the two zombies. Then, before they could breathe a sigh of relief, a small zombie jumped out of the room. He opened his mouth and bit the tall thin man's arm. It happened so fast. The leader kicked out and knocked the little zombie to the ground. Then the two of them rushed up. With a swing of their knives, they hacked the little zombie to death. I was stunned watching the surveillance footage. I recognized those two zombies. One is Dong Shanliang's wife, one is his child. Thinking of this, my heart turned cold. Although I thought Dong Shanliang was inhuman, but I didn't expect him to be so inhuman. I can't believe his child turned into a zombie. I actually didn't see a single trace of sadness on his face. When I came to my senses, I looked at Dong Shanliang's position. This look was fine, but one look scared me. Dong Shanliang is gone. I quickly pulled up the surveillance footage of the hallway, and only then did I realize Dong Shanliang was stumbling downstairs. Without a second thought, they completely ignored the muscular man's cries. They piled up the supplies and ran out to them. At this time, the muscular man was already a burden. Just as they were going downstairs, Dong Shanliang had already run to the unit door. As if he had exhausted all his strength, he fell to the ground. Then he turned on the flashlight in his hand and shone it into the distance. Seeing this, I also understood Dong Shanliang's meaning. He probably knew he couldn't escape, so he wanted to take a few more with him before he died. If that's the case, then I'll grant you your wish. Speaking of which, I picked up my phone and remotely turned on the lights in the building again. Although I wasn't looking at the screen, but the roar of the law and the man's terrified screams and hobbies still entered my ears through the headphones. Hearing this scene, my mood completely relaxed. This is a kind of pleasure of revenge, and it's my own revenge. The murderer who killed me and my parents in my past life finally met his end at this moment. 3 years later, the zombie's body has already decayed. The zombie is wandering outside, completely lost the ability to move. My parents and I, with the help of rescue workers, were able to return to our home.